Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, welcome into the Frangie Show. Frangie on vacation. He will be back a week from today, but Hacker kind enough to join us. We've got JJ LaSelva, I am Hayes Carline, and we've got lots to get to today. But first off, I have to know, how's Bachelor life going?
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen you in a week.
I know. You had a vacation.
I did.
And I hope you enjoyed your vacation.
I did. Had a great time.
By the way, happy belated birthday.
Thank you, sir. The big 4-9.
4-9.
How about that?
There you go.
49.
7 touchdowns now.
Yeah,
you know, my 7 multiples I got very quickly in first and second grade. It's 2 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I had to learn later on that it was a touchdown and an extra point.
Right.
But, man, when I was 7, 8 years old, if I did my 7s times tables, I was locked in on the touchdowns.
Have you ever seen the movie Big with Tom Hanks?
Oh, love it. Love it.
I love the scene where, obviously, it's a boy in a man's body.
Right.
That's sort of the premise of the movie. But he's with the hot girlfriend at this point, Elizabeth Perkins' character, and she takes him to a dinner party at like a friend's house. And this little kid comes out and he's like, "Dad, I can't get this," or to the mom or something. And they're like, "Joey, we're busy. We'll help you with your algebra later." And Tom Hanks' character gets up and goes and works with him. And he's like, "Okay, so if Larry Bird scores 10 points in the first quarter, how many is he going to score in the whole game?" And the kid's like, "Well, that's easy. That's 40 points." And he's like, "Well, that's algebra."
Yeah.
He's like, "Really?" Anyway,
No,
that's
I love
always
it.
stuck with me.
No, I love it.
I'm the same
Absolutely.
way. That's how sports is sort of how I got by any sort of basic math.
Sports helped me get through general boredom and some mathematics in my grade school years. But no, bachelor life is good. I think I don't probably enjoy it as much now as maybe I did 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Got to start missing the family a little bit after a while. They'll be back next week, and then they're going to be back 3 days, and then we go on another vacation.
Wow.
Well, they're not on vacation.
Yeah.
Heidi's working remote up
Right.
there. But my Forrest is on a world tour. I mean, from a cruise to Lake City to Maine. Now he's going to go back down to Orlando. He's living it up this summer.
Styling and profiling.
School starts early, though, man. We got a schedule. They start like August 11th this year.
It's wild. It's
Something like
totally
that.
different than when we were in school.
Oh,
I
man.
don't know at what point, because it was sort of like that throughout my kids. I've got a daughter that'll be a senior next year in high school and a son that'll be a sophomore. So it doesn't feel like this has radically changed in their school life. Like it seems like, but I don't know, maybe it was 20 years ago, but it does feel like the calendar got moved up like 2 weeks from when we were in school.
I almost think I started some years at like Labor Day or just right before Labor Day.
Yeah, and that would be a month. So
Yeah.
it's radically different, which is bizarre. But I get it. We'll enjoy it because they'll be back, and then
Then the honeydews will start.
Right.
and-
So I know that you miss them, but soak it up.
Enjoy every last minute of it. That's what you're telling me.
Stay as long as you can.
Yes, I'm glad you're having a great time. Huh?
Yeah, JJ, how is everything with you?
Great.
Good. All right. Perfect. We got lots to get to today. You wouldn't think it, but it was kind of a crazy sports weekend and kind of a crazy sports Monday. So we're going to talk about the Jaguars working in the Bahamas, the skill guys. Looks like a really big group. If you look at De'Ami Brown's video that he posted, it's not just, a few of the receivers. I mean, it looks like basically any important offensive skill guy in terms of tight ends, receivers is there with Trevor. So we'll talk about that. Jalen Ramsey traded to the Steelers. Max obviously talked about that in the update. That's a big move. We'll talk about, if that changes how we view the Steelers at all. So I think, the only guy watching this among the three of us yesterday, which is fine. The Rocket Mortgage, the PGA Tour event, a very low event for the PGA Tour, just, one of those kind of filler events to get you through to the next big one, which will be the British Open. But so I turn it on because it had like 4 or 5 guys within like a shot of each other. So I was like, I'll see how this ends. Well, I didn't know I was entering the twilight zone of never-ending golf because it ended up going to a 5th playoff hole. And the kid that won it, Aldrich Potgieter from South Africa, he's only 20. And really the reason that it even got on my radar is I was celebrating my dad's birthday. My dad turns, his birthday is tomorrow. So happy early birthday, Steve Carline. And so he was the one kind of telling me about, hey, have you seen there's a 20-year-old leading the tour event? This guy named, and he didn't know his name, and I'd never heard of him, obviously. So it because of talking over at my dad's house about the event, it was like 5:30, and I was like, I'll see, what ended up happening here. So anyway, it turns into this marathon. But what really struck me is Aldrich Potgeider, the era has begun. Because
the era of Potgeider?
Yes, because we need another like really good fat athlete. It's been a while, and Potgeider has some really good potential here. So we're going to talk about our favorite fat athletes, but also give Potgeider his credit because I mean he's obviously a really marvelous skilled player. I mean to be 20 years old, his dad was with him because he can't rent a car yet, so his dad has to sort of travel with him. The playoff was between him, Max Grazerman, who I'd never heard of, and Chris Kirk, who's sort of a journeyman on tour, like I think just turned 40. And really, to be honest, they all missed it felt like 4 putts that would have won the event on their own. So it just would not end. And then finally, Potgeider sunk his putt on the 5th playoff hole for birdie and won the event. And established himself.
Well, look, I mean, I don't know about Potgeider. I'm going to take a look. I'm going to get more in depth on Potgeider as we get further into the program. But I will say this. There's a spot for Potgeider in my fandom, all right? Because you look at these PGA Tour players, they all look like Olympic decathletes. Right. And that's not the average Joe. That's not the hackers of the world that go out there on the weekend.
Exactly.
So if Potgeider's going to make it happen and he's a little big boned, I mean, maybe I'll tell him about a Waken 180 down the line, but aside from that, I'm going to root for Potgeider.
Did you ever see? Oh God, I'm drawing a blank. You made me laugh with Awaken 180. But not, and obviously it's incredibly effective. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So if you're trying to picture him, if you didn't watch it yesterday, Potgeider. Do you remember Tim Herron?
I was thinking Tim Herron and Joey Sindelar was the other one.
So he looks like if Tim Herron had a son from South Africa, this is what he might look like.
I got you. I loved
but
it.
It's lumpy. I mean, he looks like lumpy. He just has it's not like he's crazy fat necessarily. He's just got a terrible body for a pro athlete.
The one thing about Tim Herron that I'll always appreciate, because I can appreciate this as a lot of us can, when you would follow him around at the Players back in the day, he had the back sweat working. Pretty massively, man. He looked like he had just gotten out of the shower after a round of golf.
Bruce Pearl coaching in the O-Dome.
Exactly. I always appreciated that about Tim Herron.
So think about that, and if you guys have any you want to submit, please let us know. But we'll do that in our next segment. Talk about our favorite fat athletes of all time.
I literally picked out my jersey number at Wolfson High School, my JV freshman year, because of my favorite fat athlete.
How about that?
So we'll get into that in a moment.
We absolutely will get into that. And then at 5 o'clock, I did this list. It'll publish on 1010xl.com tomorrow morning. But I wanted to rank, this is an exercise I like to do every offseason at some point. I like to rank the 10 players they cannot lose to injury, the most indispensable players on the roster. Now, obviously, there's 3 main things that factor into that. The talent of the player, the importance of the position the player plays, and then the depth behind that player. So we'll go through that, and I'll give you my list, and you guys can tell me what you agree, disagree with.
Might be a fun exercise if I write down 10 before you tell me yours, to see how many of yours I can get.
Absolutely. So you've got an hour.
Yeah, I'll do that. It's a homework
I should have given you more notice, but yeah, and so we've got a lot to get to. ESPN put out a 2026 mock draft. We may touch on that because it's got it had a pretty heavy Florida Gator presence, which I thought was interesting. So lots to get to coming up on the Frangie Show. What'd you make of seeing the Jaguars in the Bahamas and as many players there as we saw?
I loved it. Now look, we've seen this before, and somebody reminded me of this. Remember when Trevor Lawrence was he a rookie or his second year, and they
went
this
to
thing,
the lake house or something.
DJ
they were on a floating dock. Yeah,
right. And I forget who else it was. It was DJ Chark and a couple other guys.
Yes.
And they were like, well, this gives me vibes of that. Are you kidding me, man?
Yeah.
I don't have vibes of that. I remember that photo after I saw the video come out. But Travis Hunter, De'Ami Brown, Brian Thomas Jr., you mentioned Trevor Lawrence, a bunch of other guys as well. I love the team building. I love the camaraderie. I love the chemistry. I mean, look, the bottom line is, and what's interesting, and what we really haven't talked about a lot this offseason, but it's factual, if you look at Brian Thomas Jr.'s year last year, he got really good after Trevor Lawrence left the lineup for whatever reason. I mean, you look at the catches and the yardage and the touchdowns that BTJ had with Mac Jones as opposed to Trevor Lawrence. It's an interesting conversation as to why that took place. Now, Christian Kirk was injured. Maybe that was part of it. Evan Ingram didn't play a couple of games down the stretch as well. But you got to build the chemistry, you got to build the camaraderie, and you got to build the timing. And because you can't have OTAs, you go to the Bahamas, you have a group outing, you get some work in, got a little swag to them. They all got the handshakes and the vibe going on. There's nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely terrific. I loved seeing those videos.
Yeah, I agree 100%. What do you think of Jalen Ramsey going to the Steelers? Does that make you buy in more on Pittsburgh or not so much?
I think that, and we've talked about this earlier in the offseason, it's so anti-Steeler-like, it's amazing. DK Metcalf was an anti-Steeler move. They just don't do that. Mm-hmm. They don't ever sign a guy like Aaron Rodgers, and now you trade for Jalen Ramsey. It screams to me that Mike Tomlin and the powers that be there know that they probably not only need to go to the playoffs, they might need to win a playoff game. Because as crazy as it is to sound here in Jacksonville, amidst the black hole we've been in for the better part of 15 years, Pittsburgh fans are tired of going 9-8 and losing on Wild Card Weekend. Tomlin's gotten them in a lot of times, but they haven't won a playoff game since 2016. So now they're going all in by bringing in Metcalf, Ramsey. Jonnu Smith's a pretty underrated part of this.
Right.
I mean, he had 88 catches last year in Miami. And from a Dolphins standpoint, maybe get a little younger, maybe get a guy out of the locker room that didn't want to be there, and you've essentially replaced Javon Holland with an upgrade in Minkah Fitzpatrick. I was stunned that Fitzpatrick was part of the deal.
Yeah.
You don't ever see star for star in a deal like this.
Yeah, it's a great point. It'll be interesting to see how much Minkah has left because the last 2 years he hasn't really been at that level. But again, that doesn't mean that it's gone forever. I'm actually starting to come around a little bit on the Steelers because I look at their schedule. I like how it starts. I don't like the Week 5 bye. You know, that's obviously something that's going to affect them late in the year. But they open, and this is a team that I think is like many, but I think is going to really build off of momentum if they get it early because they need, I think, to a man, they need confidence. Aaron Rodgers needs confidence. Tomlin, to your point, needs some confidence. They go to the Jets to start the season. They then host the Seahawks, go to the Patriots, and host the Vikings. So they're getting J.J. McCarthy, who I think is going to be pretty good, but it will be his fourth game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that could be 3-1. That could be 4-0.
I think it's a disappointment if it's anything less than 3-1.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you get this Pittsburgh team to, let's say, 3-1 at the bye, they do have a tough 8-game stretch between October and November. They go at Cincinnati, home against Green Bay, home against Indianapolis, at the Chargers, home against Cincinnati, at Chicago, home against the Bills, at the Ravens. So that's pretty tough 8-week stretch. That could be a 2-6.
Yeah, their problem, Hayes, is they're going to have the same problem now that they're going to have in 2028 and 2030 and probably up until about 2032 or 33. You got to play Burrow and Jackson twice a year.
Right.
And you don't have a quarterback that's as good as Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson in your own division. And they're probably not going to have a quarterback better than Burrow or Jackson for the next 5, 6, 7 years. And you have to find a way to overcome that. Now, getting DK Metcalf and Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, all right, I hear you. You're doing some things, but they're always going to have either the third or fourth best quarterback in their own division, and that's obviously not a good recipe for success.
Yeah, without a doubt. When we come back on the Frangie Show, we're going to pay tribute to the greatest fat athletes in sports history, inspired by Mr. Aldrich Potgieter, the 20-year-old South African who won the Rocket Mortgage on the PGA Tour yesterday on the 5th playoff hole. Potgieter, the era has begun, but we will celebrate all fat athletes. When we come back, you're listening to The Frangie Show on 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with The Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
It's always truck season at Nimnick Chevrolet. Well, this month, you can save up to 20% off a new Silverado or get financing as low as 2.9%. Now, unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, and it's ready for you to explore. With their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnick. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV with payments starting in the mid-200s. Designed to go the distance, the Silverado EV boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor. And remember, Nimnick will always give you the top dollar for your trade, and for a limited time, up to an additional $3,000 in trade assistance. That's right, $3,000. So head to Nimnick today. You can shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com or view the dealership right there at Park Street and Cassett Avenue. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick.
Estimated in 10 seconds.
Well, why don't you just turn it on and see what it does?
Sports radio is 1010XL.
I knew it.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
1010XL is a proud supporter of this year's Circle K Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament, the largest fundraiser for marine charities. To join the fun July 10th through 19th at the Jim King Park and Boat Ramp, go to kingfishtournament.com.
The 2025 season schedule has dropped, and single-game tickets are on sale now. Be at the bank to watch Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence, and the Jaguars take on the biggest names in the NFL. Don't miss your favorite matchup and secure your tickets now by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. See you this fall, Jags fans.
Yes, sir. That's the best decision.
I love it. What does your dream backyard look like? Hey, it's Joe C. and my friends at CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living can design an outdoor kitchen layout custom built to your taste and lifestyle. You dream it, they can build it. CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Visit cssoutdoor.com.
I'm Max Fink, and I'll bring you the Gator Report several times weekly to keep you connected to Gainesville.
The Gator Report, put together by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators!
Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
These days, guys who go engagement ring shopping have a really good idea of what she wants.
I was looking for something very specific. My wife shared some notes with me with what she was looking for.
Meet Jacksonville's Richard Skinner.
I did some research online. I called around the city. I shopped at other stores.
Richard found the best deal, the best ring, the best customer service at locally owned Beard's Diamonds.
We did shop around that stone and that particular setup with different jewelers, and Beard's was able to come in significantly lower. It was a no-brainer.
But way more than the price, it was truly a beautiful ring in a custom setting with a hand-picked, large, dazzling emerald-cut diamond. Literally breathtaking.
Oh, yeah. When she saw it, she couldn't talk for about 30 minutes. Her eyes got all watery and her face got red, and we almost had a panic attack.
So don't make her settle for a chain store ring. Get something special that reflects her unique style, taste, and personality. personality at Beard's Diamonds.
As a one-of-a-kind piece.
Beard's Diamonds, Jacksonville's only locally owned direct diamond importer.
I'm the hero.
At the St. John Town Center.
For the greenest, lushest lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Is this your coat? Don't do it. That guy in a little coat. That guy in a little coat. Don't. That guy in a little coat. That guy in a little coat.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
So good. Tommy Boy, Chris Farley, David Spade. Fat guy in a little coat. You like that movie, huh?
Doesn't get a whole lot better than Tommy Boy.
I know.
It really doesn't.
It's a classic.
And they did Black Sheep after, and that just didn't live up to it.
It's a solid B.
Yeah,
but
agree.
Tommy Boy's like an A+.
Tommy Boy's great. For
Yeah.
our generation, you and I, 8 years apart, 7 years apart, we're very close. Tommy Boy, Happy Gilmore, those mid-'90s movies, they're hard to beat.
Hard to beat, no doubt about it. And why we are playing that is because we have been inspired by Aldrich Potgieter, the 20-year-old South African.
He needs you just introduce him. Not just Nance, it's Carline.
What I love about him is it's not just that he's a fat athlete, which is fantastic, but Potgieter is like one of the greatest names to say. I've never heard of anybody named Potgieter.
I think if you're having a bad day, if you just say Potgieter,
right,
it just makes you happy.
Absolutely. And so here I'm watching this guy play golf. This kid, he's 20 years old. He became one of the youngest winners in the history of the PGA Tour. So he's got talent. This isn't he doesn't have a work ethic. I don't care about his conditioning. He just won an event. So obviously what he is doing is working well for him. And again, if you're just joining us, Aldrich Potgieter, if you haven't seen him, if you didn't watch the golf yesterday, think Tim Herron. If you can remember Tim Herron, and if you're a casual golf fan, you probably remember Tim Herron, Lumpy, as he was affectionately known as. He's kind of got that body type. What we're looking at here, but it was a great ending. I mean, it was one of those, like, is somebody going to win this golf tournament?
Hey, it went 5 playoff holes, right?
Playoff holes.
My problem is I was going to watch it, and I had it turned on. I went to commercial, but then, come on, the U.S. Costa Rica, the Gold Cup quarterfinals. I was locked in on that one.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll certainly talk about that towards the end, But yeah, anyway, so it kind of just inspired me about, obviously this kid's 20 and he just went on tour. It's a lower level event, but still he's going to be around. He'll be at the Players Championship next year. So you can, I can guarantee you on Tuesday who I'm talking to.
Yes.
I'm talking to Potgieter.
There's no doubt.
And so it got me sort of thinking, who are our favorite fat guy athletes of all time? I've already heard from our good friend Gary Smits. He has texted me John Kruk.
Yep.
He's a first ballot fat guy. I think.
When Randy Johnson almost killed him at the All-Star game. That was good stuff.
So
man.
good. John Kruk, a lifetime 300 hitter, I believe on the nose.
John Kruk was also a part of the Best Damn Sports Show period.
That's right.
Back in the day. He was pretty good on that one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And still still does games, broadcasting, right? I think every so often he'll go viral for something interesting that he said during a game. So as we look at this, give me some, obviously the gold standard is Babe Ruth. Because he's arguably, and this is really only depending on kind of how you view Shohei Ohtani and what he's doing in 2025, but Babe Ruth regarded as the best player to ever play baseball.
Oh, yeah, no, without question.
And fat guy.
Yeah. Yes, he was. I'll go even fatter than that in Major League Baseball. I was also a big fan of Cecil Fielder.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day.
Oh, he's got to be mentioned.
And you want to talk about some power now.
Oh, yeah.
He would hit the ball out of that Detroit stadium.
Without a doubt. I want to say he had a couple years where he was in the high 40s, 50s.
Oh, he's a huge guy, huge athlete, huge power. And his son, Prince, not as big, but still bigger and a pretty good player in his own right.
Tony Gwynn, kind of a good fat guy athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a great baseball player, and it was funny. It always surprised me that he was like a great college point guard at San Diego State, because he just doesn't have that, like when we knew him from the Padres, he's sort of, kind of a chubby guy, but, would bat .330 and hit a bunch of singles.
Braves fans won't like this one, but, the Minnesota World Series, Kirby Puckett.
Yeah.
Is another one.
He's another one.
May he rest in peace. Kirby Puckett was a heck of a player.
Oh, yeah.
And on the bigger side as well.
On the bigger side. Yeah. In golf, you've got John Daly. John Daly, when he won his, first major, he was still kind of thin. I think, I want to say maybe when he won the PGA first. And when you look at those clips, I think he's in relatively decent shape.
And then he's
got the mullet. And then he won the British Open, and I want to say maybe by that point he was filling out. But certainly over the last 25 years, we've come to know John Daly as a great fat athlete.
There's no question. And to bring it locally here, I was telling you, I picked out a jersey number at Wolfson based on this guy. And this is a Jaguar guy. So I was on the offensive line for the Wolfson JV team. That's where they put all the athletes. I mean, the junior varsity offensive line, that's where they put all the great players. And I picked out number 64. Do you know why I picked out number 64?
I do not. I can't wait to find out.
Because one of my all-time favorite Jacksonville Jaguar players, who now does radio up in Chicago, yakking with Yurko, John Yurkovic.
That's awesome.
Love Yurko. And I've told him that story many times, that I literally wore 64. And I wasn't going to go as far as to call Yurko fat.
Yeah.
But I think he was lumpy a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? But he was a darn good player for the Jaguars for a couple of years there as a defensive tackle. But Yurko, Tony Saragusa is another one. May he rest in peace. Yeah. Saragusa, I loved him as an athlete. Boy, Searcy's got all sorts of crazy stories about Saragusa from his time up in Baltimore with him. And that's the thing about the fat athletes. Not only are they good, not only are they fat, which is why they're talking about them, most of them are characters.
Oh, yeah.
Most of them have a little swagger to them.
Oh, there absolutely no doubt about it.
John Daly.
Yeah,
right?
Oh, yeah. None of these guys are boring.
No.
At all. George Foreman in boxing. Now, he wasn't fat. He wasn't a fat guy in his prime. So those battles with Muhammad Ali, and he's in good shape. But his, comeback in the late 1980s, George, big guy.
Yeah.
It was sort of amazing, the stamina that he would have in that sport at that age to succeed. He won the World Heavyweight Championship in his 40s, beating Michael Moore. And great fat guy.
Great fat guy. And there's a whole generation of people that just remember him as the grill guy.
Yes.
Now, I did enjoy the George Foreman grill back in the day. It got rid of a lot of grease. So I guess George went from the fat athlete to then taking better care of himself as the George Foreman grill.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's try to, we mentioned John Kruk. Are we missing any more first ballot fat guys? And not necessarily even offensive linemen, although I loved your story. But I'm thinking more along the lines of they're unique because they're overweight at their position.
Well,
or their occupation.
This isn't unique because he's a defensive tackle, but the fridge.
Yeah.
William Refrigerator Perry.
Great fat guy.
Desmond Watson.
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah.
He's
lifetime achievement
of Gator fandom. 1 carry, 1 yard. It was a first down there in the bowl game.
Yeah, 430 pounds, and you gain weight.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah,
that's hard to do. I'll give you a couple off the radar guys in terms of our favorite fat athletes of all time. Butterbean.
Mm-hmm.
Is Butterbean qualify? Was he good enough? He was more of a gimmick than he was a legitimate athlete.
He was a gimmick till he almost killed Bart Gunn at WrestleMania 10.
That is one of the most vicious knockouts I have ever seen in my life.
That whole story, that was a punishment. That WWE, Vince McMahon did this boxing tournament, and the winner got to face Butterbean at WrestleMania. And they thought one guy was going to win, but Bart Gunn ended up winning because it was not fake. So as a punishment, they put Bart Gunn in the ring with Butterbean at WrestleMania 10. That thing lasted about 20 seconds.
What's so terrible about that is Butterbean kind of knocks him down, and it's clear he has no chance.
Right.
But they get him up, and they basically allow Butterbean to just unload on him.
It was brutal.
The punch that he throws, if you've never seen it, you've got to find it on YouTube. It'll only take you 10 seconds to watch it.
It'll come up right away.
It is one of the most... I still don't know how his head stayed on his neck.
It was bad.
It was bad.
It was really bad.
Yeah. So Butterbean, we're counting.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
What about again? These are lower level guys. Didn't have maybe the success of Kruk, Foreman, Daly, Babe Ruth. About Jared Lorenzen.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's that whole story, and I feel bad obviously that he has passed. I used to have Jared Lorenzen on.
Yeah.
Every Florida Kentucky week, we would have the Pillsbury Throw Boy is what they used to call him. Other nicknames. He was great to talk to, just phenomenal. But he played in that Arena Football League, like AFL 2 or whatever, and his guts just hanging over there. But he's throwing for like 300 yards and all these touchdowns. How he never beat Florida, I don't know. There were a couple games where he should have beat Florida and he didn't.
Well, he had that pick that Keywan Ratliff took back to the house.
Terrible interception.
I mean, if they just take a knee and punt, they probably win that game.
No question.
I can't remember exactly how much time was left when he threw the pick six, but I want to say it was like 2.5 minutes.
It
wasn't much.
No.
And it was a terrible decision. He was sort of getting pressured.
You're talking about the game in Lexington.
Yes,
Yeah,
and he had kind of a Florida defender hanging off of him.
Right.
And he just sort of winged it to the sideline.
Terrible pick.
And Keywan Ratliff just said, thank you, and took it to it was one of those where, like, I think the Kentucky receiver couldn't believe the ball was thrown.
Yeah.
But Lorenzen ended up, he's still, and you would know better than me having talked to him before he passed away, but he was very popular in Kentucky. I mean, as a player.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
talking about a mistake he made in a game against a team that we, are fans of. But he had a great career.
Yeah, great following. I mean, now he actually lost some weight and then he gained it all back, unfortunately. But I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say we will never again see a 300-pound Division I college quarterback. We've never really seen one before.
Right.
I doubt we'll ever see one again. That's how unique Jared Lorenzen was.
What about Janikowski? Was he I think he was big. I don't know that I would say fat guy. Maybe later in his NFL career.
He wasn't a prototypical kicker body.
Yeah.
Janikowski, man.
He was a great player.
He used to work out here locally at a couple of gyms around. I knew people that worked out with him. That dude could put up some weight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I would agree with you. He probably just had a different body type than most kickers, but a husky build for a kicker.
What about in the NBA? A couple of them. Oliver Miller, the Big O.
Oh yeah, great
big
call.
boy,
Great
big boy.
call.
There was
Played at Arkansas.
There was a jelly roll. Florida State had a basketball player. Jelly Roll Dixon. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I do, but the name escapes
Florida
me.
State fans will know this.
Yeah.
There was a huge guy on the Florida State basketball team, probably in the mid to late 90s, and his nickname was Jelly. I want to say his last name was Dixon. I'll look it up. I'm sure Florida State fans will tweet in or text in. And then maybe the greatest overweight NBA player, certainly in the conversation, Charles Barkley.
Yeah, round mound of rebound.
Yeah.
Yeah, sticking in college with our schools, Dimitri Hill.
Demeet Hook.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were looking at just Florida, might be the greatest fat athlete in Gators history.
That's really I was 10 years old, 11 years old when it was Demeet Hook, DeClerc, Craig Brown, Dan Cross, Marty Kuzma coming off the bench. I love that 94 Florida basketball team, and Dimitri Hill was probably the leader of that team.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Nigel Dixon was Big Jelly.
Nigel Dixon, Big Jelly. That guy was enormous.
Well done.
Yeah.
Good job, JJ.
Enormous.
JJ, are you did Miami, did the Canes have a famous fat
Vince
guy athlete?
Wilfork.
Yeah.
Vince
Wilfork
Wilfork was very fat.
Yeah.
But he was phenomenal.
And he was supposed to be fat.
Yeah.
That's
exactly. I would say my favorites were in baseball.
Yeah.
Always. Like Mo Vaughn was hilariously
Mo
fat.
Vaughn. Yeah.
Rich,
That's a really
and
good
he
one.
hung over. He was fat and he crowded the plate. So I was always like, how does he not just constantly get hit by fastballs in his belly? Rich Garces, though, is my favorite fat guy baseball player. Probably guys don't know who that is.
Yeah,
he was a
tell me about
pitcher.
him.
He's just a fat, huge belly. Like some of these guys are like fat athletes. No, this was just a guy that drank so much, but he had to have huge belly. And I know he's a coach, but Mark Mangino.
Oh yeah. Well, he'd have to be the coach of our
me and
fat guy
Hack's
team.
one of me and Hack's favorite coaches of all time.
Oh my gosh. That's I can't say this. It's one of the greatest stories of all time, Mark Mangino. Unfortunately, it's not for on-air consumption.
Classic fat guy in sports.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
but
anyway.
Mo Vaughn is my favorite of all time.
That's a great call.
Well, and you think of Major League Baseball, like Bartolo Colon, right?
Yeah, Gibby texted us all Bartolo.
Fernando Valenzuela was another one.
Yeah.
David Wells. David Wells.
Perfect game
when he was hungover.
Yeah.
I mean, he went out on a bender, and he's a big boy. Obviously, it was a pretty big bender. So the story goes, he comes back to Yankee Stadium the next day, hungover, and pitches a perfect game.
It's unbelievable.
It is
Middle
unbelievable.
Of the afternoon.
Crazy.
Afternoon game after a night out.
CC Sabathia is another one.
Yeah.
He lost a lot of weight recently. I don't know if you've seen him. He looks great. But
Yeah.
definitely fat guy.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, if we didn't mention yours, feel free to tweet or text us and let us know who we left out. But that was, in my opinion, that was the 15 best minutes of radio that we've ever done at this station. So that's just my opinion. But when we come back on the Frangie Show, we're going to switch it to basketball. Want to get Hacker's thoughts about Walter Clayton Jr. There was a trade the Jazz made. How does that affect Walter Clayton Jr. as he heads into his rookie year? We'll also get thoughts about LeBron. Hacker will give us his thoughts about the Magic. There's some college basketball notes as well. So lots of hoops coming up. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
Brunell is back in the pocket. Blitz is coming now. He's going to run. He's coming to the near side. Pump fake across the 10, and he'll go into the end zone. Touchdown, Mark Brunell.
Home of the Jaguars. 1010XL.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. I always brag on what you guys have on-road and off-road. But, Greg, tell everybody about what's happening on the water, because you got loads of opportunity.
We do. We've got lots of boats in stock. We got the Honda 19-foot Fisher Runabout. We've got the Coach pontoons, all of them with that legendary Honda motor and legendary Honda reliability, which you always want when you're out on the water.
You could be cruising along the Intercoastal or out on the ocean, but check it out. Facebook page ready for all of you to see. Cycles of Jacksonville, or their showroom on Atlantic near Regency.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me. If you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
What does it mean when someone says the continental United States?
It's always a good idea to compare homeowners' insurance rates when it's time to renew. Before storm season, log on to southernoak.com and get an instant quote or find an agent in your area.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The continental United States refers to all United States in North America. Hawaii is in the southern hemisphere.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Teach your birdies to sing with Dan, Jeff, and PGA pros on Brunch with the Tour. Teed up by Clearwater Irrigation and Apex Roofing and Contracting. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A. 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie, and I got to tell you, I can't fix anything. I would be so lost with plumbing problems if not for Duck Duck Rooter. But everybody knows to call the Duck. Well, I do too. Whether it's plumbing, air conditioning, septic, they handle all of it, and nobody does a better job than our friends at Duck Duck Rooter. Any of those needs you have, call them today, 904-862-6769, or go to duckduckrooter.com. If you've got problems, call Duck Duck Rooter. They'll handle it, I guarantee it.
Are you struggling with hair loss? At IHRS, we understand because we've been there too. We're dedicated to finding the best solution tailored just for you.
My hair looks great. It was thinning, and IHRS restored my hair. It's now fuller, it's thicker, voluminous. It's made me feel great.
With the latest technology and FDA-approved laser therapy, PRP, and non-surgical hair addition, we offer guaranteed solutions for men and women.
With over 35 years of experience, IHRS found a hair restoration for us, and we can find one for you.
For me.
For me.
And me too.
Visit hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. Get a free microscopic analysis and get to the root of your problem. This $395 analysis is yours for free. Call 904-777-4477 now.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
June is Men's Health Month. Be proactive towards your prostate, ED, low T, even kidney stones with Ackerman Urology. Offices in Mandarin, Middleburg, the Beaches, and World Golf Village. Trust the men's health experts at AckermanUrology.com.
Are you living with diabetic neuropathy? That pain and numbness in your hands or feet? What about chronic knee or shoulder pain? Maybe you've tried various treatments, but they've been ineffective. Now there's a solution. Dr. Ferdinand Formoso specializes in advanced pain management and offers breakthrough neuromodulation treatments for those conditions. His innovative treatments target the source of your pain, offering relief where medications may fall short. All procedures are performed outpatient with no hospitalization required. Just a chance for you to feel and live better. If you want to learn more, Dr. Formoso is hosting free informational classes where he'll explain the benefits of neuromodulation therapies and how they can help eliminate your pain. Spaces are limited, so call to reserve your spot now with offices on the South Side, West Side, and Jacksonville Beach. Relief is possible with Formoso Spine and Joint Pain Specialists.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Might let this play a little while. Did you see the General Lee flying through the air in Kentucky this
couldn't
weekend?
figure out what it was, but I saw the video and it was unbelievably impressive.
It was glorious.
Was it a show? Was it?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
But it's spectacular.
He went up a ramp.
Yeah. And jumped over a fountain.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
I have no idea if it was the anchor to a festival, if this was the only thing that people came out to see. I cannot tell you. It was in Somerset, Kentucky, and a stuntman drove the General Lee, a replica of the famous Dukes of Hazzard car, 150 feet over a fountain. Everybody was safe. It made me proud to be an American.
See, I could never appreciate the Dukes of Hazzard TV show. Okay. That was a little before me.
Yeah.
But I appreciated the movie very much so.
Oh, yeah.
Now, did the movie live up to the show?
So, I would say no. But I saw the show, I was really little. To your point of you can't remember it, I probably was 8, 9 years old when it was on. It was on in the mid 80s. I was born in 76. So I was probably 8 to 10 years old at its prime, and I loved it. It was great, but the movie was more with Johnny Knoxville and
it was an interesting
and
cast.
Stifler.
Yes,
I don't know the actor's name.
Sean William Scott.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And
Burt Reynolds and Willie Nelson.
Right. I think that was more
Most importantly, Jessica Simpson.
That's the thing.
Yes.
That's why you're saying. A spectacular Daisy Duke.
As much as I enjoy Johnny Knoxville and Stifler, yes, Jessica Simpson made that movie.
Yeah, so the tone of the movie is more, I'd say, slapstick, comedic, and the tone of the TV show was more not drama, but them more action. But anyway, I just thought it was fantastic seeing the General Lee flying through the air and goes through the fountain and lands safely.
So apparently it's the guy's 30th time doing this. Like he has a refurbished General Lee, and this one was 217 feet into the air.
217 feet.
And if you haven't seen the video, it's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's through like a blue, like Kentucky blue fountain.
That's like 72 yards. Imagine a 72-yard play in football. That's how far this car flew through the air.
And it was a festival, and not only could the festival goers see that, they were also able to enjoy a meet and greet and get autographs from the stars of Dukes of Hazzard, including John Schneider.
Wow.
Bo Duke.
That's big.
It is. What a day out.
How about that? Well, I appreciate you filling in some of the blanks there for us there, JJ. But yeah, if you haven't seen the video, go check it out. It was fantastic. So it's a great weekend to be an American.
No question. Leading into the 4th of July. So we had the General Lee flying through the air last week.
And Joey Chestnut will be back.
Right. Friday, we're going to have people dunking hot dog buns in water and shoving it down their gullet in the hot dog eating contest.
It's incredible. And
I love it, man.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's what Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine, this is what they want.
I think we're hitting our peak right now. I mean, I don't think
people say it's a crumbling empire.
Yeah,
I say
don't.
Watch that Dukes of Hazzard video.
I mean, you see that car going through the fountain, and it's gonna be hard to convince me of that. Let's get into some basketball because there's a lot of things that I want you guys to weigh in. I'm not going to get into Walter Clayton Jr. getting drafted. You guys did a great job talking about that last week, and but I am curious. So the Jazz traded Colin Sexton,
right?
So odd trade.
Okay, so what does that do in your both of you? Hacker, start us off. What does that do for Walter Clayton Jr.? Does that open it up for him?
I mean, it certainly helps. Colin Sexton was one of the 2 starting guards on the Jazz. You got Ace Bailey, who they drafted as well. I think Walter Clayton Jr. is probably going to come off the bench to begin with. Because, again, the question with Walter Clayton Jr., remember, he wasn't a point guard at Florida, but towards the very end, right? He wasn't a point guard in his junior year. Zion Pullen was. He kind of learned how to play point guard out of necessity for the Gators. And can you come in your NBA rookie year and play the point right off the bat, or are you a natural 2 guard? Now, in Walter Clayton's instance, he's probably going to need to play both because 6'2" 2 guards in the NBA don't stay around very long. He needs to have a little flexibility. But to answer your question, I mean, the fact that one of the guards that was clearly in front of him got traded out is obviously a good thing. It will mean more minutes. I still don't believe it's going to mean necessarily a starting role for Walter Clayton Jr.
Interesting. In terms of Summer League, that starts obviously quickly,
week,
right?
Yeah, well, the Magic's first game is July 10th, so yeah.
How much is that a pretty good indicator, like immediately if a kid's going to be like,
Well, it's all your first year, second year, and like undrafted free agent guys.
Okay.
Like the Magic's a prime example. The Magic will have Tristan da Silva there, who's going into his second year. They'll have both of their rookies. And quite frankly, at that point, they're going to have a lot of journeymen that's going to join them that are still looking for a chance to get into the league.
But you can see a guy, like I'd see it every year. These high-level rookies will come in the summer league. You can see them play in 2 games and be like, whoa, they're like miles above everybody else. And then the club like sits them down. They're like, we have no more reason to see Clayton play anymore because he is so awesome. He's obviously going to be good on this team. And what was Hack saying about Sexton? Yeah, I don't know if he'll be starting, but man, Sexton took a lot of shots. He took a lot of threes. Like, I was worried that there's a lot of ball handler shooting guys on Utah, and maybe these rookies might not get their fair share. This is perfect for him. Now that he's out of the way, like, this is a perfect setup for Clayton, man. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, I'm excited too. We obviously you don't have that in the NFL. Your rookies don't go to like a flag football event and or obviously do anything with contact. So you don't get that even in the preseason. I mean, you'll get a sense of the, the mid, late round and the undrafted guys that are going to play a lot of those snaps. But it's still, it's interesting because it's basically you draft the player and you kind of immediately get a sense of what you have.
Yeah, it's fun. It's right off the bat. And like you said, Summer League is going to begin in the next week or two. I asked Frangie this last week. I'm curious your thoughts. I mean, I'm assuming you probably haven't seen a game of the Utah Jazz since they played the Bulls in '98 in the finals.
Absolutely.
All right. So the fact that Walter Clayton Jr., Walt Lake City, if you will, is what they're calling him out there,
That's
is
awesome.
on the Utah Jazz. Are you going to watch?
No.
So even with Walter Clayton Jr., you're not going to watch how he does in the NBA, watch the games?
The Utah, are you talking about like a regular season game?
Like, yeah, if I were to tell you, hey, let's go down and see the Jazz Magic to watch Walter Clayton in Orlando.
Oh, I would go for that for more like the party, and it'd be cool to see Walter Clayton Jr. play in person. Yeah, something like that I would be up for. But, if the Utah Jazz are playing a regular season game on January the 11th, they could be playing it in my backyard and I'd close the curtains. I mean, I just don't care.
Yeah.
And I wish them nothing but the best, but I'd be lying if I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be locking in on Walter Clayton Jr. and the Utah Jazz.
See, that's my sickness, and JJ's too, is we're just diehard NBA guys.
Correct. Yeah. And that's great. I mean, the NBA for me is something I wish it grabbed me more. But it just doesn't. It's one of those things that I don't pay a ton of attention to until we get deep into the tournament. But I did see the Sexton trade, and I was like, well, good. Me not knowing anything about the Jazz, just seeing that they traded a guard of some prominence,
right?
Made me think, well, okay, well maybe Walter Clayton Jr. is a bigger part of their plan.
Absolutely.
Obviously, he's a big part of the plan. They took him in the first round of the draft. I get that, but maybe even more of an accelerated timeline to him getting big minutes and the opportunity to show what he can do.
Did you hear that? Sorry to cut you off, but that the Warriors were looking to trade to draft him. So like
That would've been
apparently a lot of guys in the league front offices loved this guy.
When one of the things that I loved was, and we didn't get a chance to talk about this, or I didn't on my show on Friday, was Elijah Martin and Will Richard both went because they both moved their stock up in the draft. There was a point when mock drafts began coming out and analysis was being made that Elijah Martin was going to be a late second round pick and Will Richard was going to go undrafted. Elijah Martin went 39th. I mean, he was a high second round pick, so obviously his stock elevated. He goes to Toronto, good landing spot for him. And Will Richard to just get drafted at all is great, and then ultimately get traded to Golden State. So now, I mean, obviously it's probably going to be the G League for him, but to be in the same organization as Steph Curry and all those guys out there, that's got to be an amazing feeling for Will Richard.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I would have loved to have seen Clayton go to the Magic, although once they made the trade for Desmond Bane, you sort of knew that was probably over. And Golden State would have been awesome. I mean,
yeah, playing with Steph.
Yeah, I mean, Utah, I kind of feel like I'll never see Walter Clayton Jr. play basketball again.
It's the most obscure team, arguably, he could have gone to for the Jacksonville audience.
So I was sort of bummed out.
Anytime soon.
Right. So, like, they won how many games? 17 last year or
But
something?
I'll tell you this, back to the point, when the Magic schedule comes out, I will look immediately when Utah comes in, and I would love to go down there to watch Walter Clayton Jr.
Look, if we get a caravan, I'm ready. Let's go.
Hi, Dante Marcatelli in Orlando. How you doing?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. So yeah, that would be a very cool event, and hopefully he does great. I just playing for the Utah Jazz, I'm probably not going to see a lot of his pro career. A couple of college notes real quick before we get to break. We're going to talk Jaguars in our next segment at the top of the hour and kind of rank the most indispensable players on the roster. Give you our top 10. And but before we get to that, so two kind of cool college notes. One is EA Sports is bringing back the college basketball game.
I saw that. Now, we got to wait a little bit. It's like 2028.
But I'm shocked because I don't remember that game being overly popular.
No, it wasn't. I got it a couple of times, but of all the sports games, I got NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL Live. I would get that. I would very rarely get the NCAA basketball game.
I won the national championship with IUPUI one year.
Indiana,
University,
Fort Wayne.
Purdue, University, Indianapolis.
That's right.
No, different school.
Oh,
that's
is it?
their
Okay.
rival. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, we were like 2004 national title winners.
Was it a fun game? You must have enjoyed it.
It wasn't great.
Okay.
Because I was, like Hack said, I loved the NCAA football game. And I bought that every year.
That's the holy grail.
Yeah, the basketball one, I got it once.
Okay. See, I never bought the basketball game, and
it wasn't nearly as popular.
And that's and that was sort of what I heard was like none of my friends had it, and so I was surprised that EA Sports is doing it. I mean, look, that's great, and I'm sure there'll be people out there that enjoy it. I certainly don't mind that they're doing it, but I'm surprised that their analysts say we're going to make money on this.
Yeah,
because obviously they believe they are.
Obviously, the numbers and the analytics or whatever, they think they are going to make money on, and people are just jonesing for all that stuff to come back. Maybe there was a market that we were just not familiar with. The NCAA football game is going to annihilate record sales.
Oh, yes.
It's going to annihilate. I don't know what the all-time record sales are for EA Sports. NCAA football, I think it's coming out. Is it this year?
No, it already came out.
Well, it's been out. They brought it out a year ago. So, but they're getting ready to unveil this season's version in like a week or two.
I mean, I can't imagine what the sales were last year and this year.
It couldn't have gone better. It was a 10 out of 10.
Absolutely crazy. And I used to be so caught up. Not to get off on a tangent here. I used to love that stuff, but I haven't really played video games maybe since PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
So admittedly, I'm not the greatest guy on this topic, but I look at the Madden games now.
It's incredible.
Almost to the point of like it's too much.
Wait until Little Hack starts playing them.
Well, that's the thing. We got
my
him.
son is a sophomore in high school, getting ready to be a sophomore in high school. So he's been. I mean, it is just talking about like the college football game, the depth that they go into in recruiting. If you want to do like dynasty mode, it's insane.
Yeah. So I don't even know. Like I don't even know how I would handle that because I haven't played a video game like that in 15 plus years. I got Little Hack console. I think I told you this, where it has like all the retro Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. Yet, unfortunately, I've been monopolizing that, where I was playing Zelda and I was playing all these games that I grew up with. And Little Hack's like, Daddy, can I have a turn? Yeah, buddy, it is yours.
Have you taken Von Kaiser to the woodshed lately?
Man, there's no doubt.
Punch Out.
You got Punch Out. You got Mortal Kombat. Street Fighter, you name it. Super Mario Kart on Super Nintendo Battle Mode.
I need to get that.
It's great, man.
Yeah,
it is awesome.
I definitely need to get that. And one other thing, we talked about this too, like Florida not getting a lot of credit after winning the national title when you looked at the preseason polls and stuff like that. One thing that I saw interesting, Joe Lunardi updated his bracketology, and he moved Florida to the top overall seed, not just a 1 seed, the top overall seed. So, again, with Condon back, Boogie Flan, Xavier Lee, you're starting to see, at least from one analyst, way more love than what we had been seeing when they weren't even in like the top 10.
I saw Florida's returning 40% of their scoring from last year, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
Because Condon, yes, Houck, yes. But that to me was like the only 2 guys. But I guess Chenyulu and, you add all them together, it was 40% of their scoring from last year. I also saw a video that was released of Xavier Lee just drilling like 9 threes in a row in practice. If that doesn't get you salivating as a Gator fan, I don't know what will.
They are going to be so much fun to watch next season. It's going to be a lot of fun. When we come back on the Frangie Show, we're going to switch it over to the Jaguars. We're going to talk about the 10 players that this team cannot afford to lose. You're listening to the Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
There are 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and Jags football.
To the 5, into the end zone, touchdown!
Jaguar football lives here. 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Hi, it's Frank Frangie. You hear my buddies Dan and Jeff talk about that great food at Daly's Dash all the time. Jeff loves that Duval, and Dan loves the Boss. And they're right, both are terrific. But I can tell you they have so many excellent options at Daly's Dash. Salads and flatbreads and tacos and quesadillas, you name it. And of course, those fantastic subs and sandwiches. I just had the Italian sub. It is so good. The thing is, Daly's Dash is really committed to their food and committed to making it perfect for you. Everything is fresh, made to order every time. And there's so many Daly's locations in town, no matter where you are, there's one near you. I love to pop in and grab a sub at lunch, or maybe after a round of golf, or maybe even after calling one of those Jags games. There's never a bad time to stop into Daly's Dash and grab that great, great food. So head there today. Take it from Dan and Jeff, or take it from me. They say it's nicer here. It really is. And the food is delicious. Head to Daly's Dash today.
Okay, here we go with our final lightning round. round on Potty Talk. Top 3 answers on the board. Ready? Okay. The best way to save money when your faucets or pipes are leaking.
Roland Reese Plumbing?
Something to help you avoid clogged sewers and drains.
Roland Reese Plumbing.
The technical term for that ba-whoosh sound when a toilet flushes correctly.
Roland Reese Plumbing.
Roland Reese Plumbing is always the right answer. Roland Reese Plumbing, 260-7059.
Introducing the new Dell AI PC, powered by the Intel Core Ultra processor. It helps do your busy work for you, so you can fast forward through editing images, designing presentations, generating code, debugging code, summarizing meeting notes, finding files, managing your schedule, responding to Jim's long emails, leaving all the time in the world for the things you actually want to do. No offense, Jim. Get a new Dell AI PC starting at $699.99 at Dell.com/AI-PC. How those ahead stay ahead.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high-interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
Get closer to nature.
Trying to get close to these bucks out here.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Favor, and Captain Kirk Waltz. The Nimnicht Outdoor Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here for Coil Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports moments. Remember Hal Sutton when he famously said, "Be the right club today"? Well, that's what Coil Fencing delivers. The right fence today. And they've been delivering the right fencing for both commercial and residential properties for nearly 100 years. If you're in the market for a new fence, call Coil & Sons today at 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Ready to ride the waves? Best Bet St. Augustine is turning up the heat with our Summer Splash promotion. We're giving away over $40,000 in cash and prizes, including a brand new 2025 Yamaha Wave Runner. From now through August 8th, every hour you play poker or table games earns you an entry to win. It all leads up to the grand prize drawing on August 9th. The more you play, the more chances you have. Don't miss your shot to make a splash this summer. Visit bestbetjacks.com for all the details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Hey, it's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's. It's local, family-owned, and they've been part of our community since 1926. They've taken great care of me over the years, and I know they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Your yard starting to look a little like a jungle? Well, it might be time for a little TLC. Or how about RTC, Russell Tree Care? At Russell Tree Care, they give your trees the perfect haircut. Whether it's trimming or removing, they'll make sure your yard looks its best, all while keeping safety as a top priority. Call Russell Tree Care today and let them take care of your trees. Russell Tree Care, 844-4Mr. Wood. That's 844-467-9663. Or visit RussellTreeCareLLC.com today. Your trees will thank you.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband and wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update.
The NFL has officially announced training camp dates for all 32 teams, meaning the dates for Jaguars camp are all set. Rookies will report to the Miller Electric Center on July 19th, followed by the veterans reporting on July 22nd. The first open practice will be July 24th from 8:45 to 10:30 a.m. They'll have their first annual stadium practice on Sunday, August 3rd at the Bank from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. They'll kick off their preseason here in Duval against the Pittsburgh Steelers on August 9th at 7 o'clock. The Shrimp racked up their third straight series win over the Nashville Sounds this weekend with a 15-3 win Friday, an 8-0 win Saturday, and 6-5 win Sunday to close it out. They'll have the day off before restarting their series with the Charlotte Knights tomorrow night at 7:05. It's 82 degrees at 5:05. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, Hammer Time with Hayes. Driven by Kia on Atlantic. Southside Kia is now Kia on Atlantic. Check us out at KiaOnAtlantic.com.
I think Trayvon Walker is more valuable to the Jaguars than Josh Hines-Allen. It's very close. That was the hardest call in ranking the most indispensable Jaguars. You'll be able to read this on 1010XL.com tomorrow morning when I publish it. So this is something I do every year. I sort of rank the players that the Jaguars can't lose. And again, you base it on player talent, you base it on the importance of the position, and you base it on the depth behind the player. And before we get into the 10, Hacker, I want your opinion on this because I think there's a pretty good split among the people that cover the team, certainly the fans, and they're both really good players with the potential to be exceptional players. Josh Hines-Allen is still just 27, so probably hitting what should be the prime of his career. Trayvon Walker, just 24, probably still has considerable upside to still hit. But I went with Trayvon Walker at 3, Josh Hines-Allen at 4. And really it's because I think Trayvon Walker has figured it out. I think he's figured the league out. I think he's figured out his position. And I think he is getting ready to take a massive step forward. Where do you weigh in on Hines-Allen versus Walker on a list like this?
Yeah, that's tough because honestly, and this is a cop-out answer, if it were me, I'd probably go 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. I think one is as important as the other, and if one of them goes down, I don't care who it is, that's going to be a big problem for the Jaguars. But if I had to give an answer, just to be different than you, I'll say Hines-Allen by a smidge. Because, again, this is a guy that 2 years ago had 17 and a half sacks, was like third in the league in sacks. Now, he took a step back last year, no question about it. But now with Eric Armstead, Mason Smith, I think that'll open it up for both Hines-Allen and Walker. I think Hines-Allen is a better natural pass rusher than Trayvon Walker is right now. I think Walker's probably a little bit better than the run. Like I said, I mean, it's 6.1 to 5.9 or whatever it is. But by a hair, I would probably say Joshua Hines-Allen.
Yeah, and I totally get that. And some of this is projection, as you'll see, because I've got at number 5, Travis Hunter, which I can't remember ever putting a rookie on this list. I'm not saying I haven't, but it's certainly, and I doubt I've ever put one in the top 5. But my argument for Travis Hunter is, look, obviously it's a projection, but I believe he is going to be a game-changing star on both sides of the ball at this level. The question is, how long will it take him to get there? Will it be his third season? Will it be the second half of his rookie season? Will it be week 1 against the Panthers? Is he just immediately phenomenal? But I think if we see even this season, if we see 80% of what he's capable of at receiver and corner, then he's a top 5 most indispensable player on the roster because his snap counts are going to be vastly higher than anyone else.
No, I agree with that. Obviously, it would be stupid to say his on-the-field production is why you would have him on this list, because if he were to get hurt, the on-the-field production goes away. That would be devastating. I almost think with Travis Hunter in particular, the vibe around the city, I would have to think, is maybe similar to the vibe inside the Miller Electric Center. If Hunter were to go down, the air that would be let out of the balloon with this organization and this fan base would be monumental.
That's a great point.
And I just think, if Hunter's healthy, maybe he goes out there and has 3 catches for 27 yards and he has 2 tackles and 1 pass defense. But he's out there doing his thing, man. He's out there firing his teammates up. He's Travis Hunter. It's just everything that he brings to the table. Obviously, on the field production is the most important thing, but you want to keep that guy healthy for team morale and for fan morale as well.
Without a doubt. Number 1 and number 2, I thought very easy. Trevor Lawrence won because of the importance of the position, and I do think he's talented. He needs to play better, but again, 80% of the teams in this league, the quarterback is going to be the number 1 person on this list. But I think Trevor is deserving of it. Beyond the fact that he's the starting quarterback. I don't really love the depth behind him in terms of Nick Mullins and beyond. So if something were to happen to Trevor Lawrence, I think it would be really tough sledding for the Jaguars, like it would be for, like I said, pretty much any club that loses their starting quarterback. The only ones that might not have their quarterback one are teams like the Colts, the teams that are sort of trying to figure out who their guy is going to be, or if they drafted a rookie high. You don't really know what you have there yet. And then Brian Thomas Jr., I thought, has to be second just because, his talent is just extraordinary. His production is a rookie 3rd in the NFL in receiving yards. To me, he had to be second on the list.
Yeah, Brian Thomas Jr., and we talk about, minicamp when he went down and when the fans were out there at the Miller Electric Center, there was that 2-minute period where you didn't know what the situation was, right? And then we see him get up and walk off the field, and we found out it was a shoulder, and Liam Cohen said that he probably could have gone back in. They held him out as a precaution. Thankfully, he was out there the next day, and now you see the video of him in the Bahamas. He certainly looks 100%. But for those 2 minutes when he was down, that really put into perspective for me, Hayes. We can talk about Travis Hunter and De'Ami Brown, all these great acquisitions on offense, and Etienne and Bigsby, and you name it. Outside of Trevor Lawrence, there is not a more important person on this roster, offense, defense, special teams, than Brian Thomas Jr.
Totally agree. Again, we're talking about the 10 players the Jaguars cannot lose this season. Attrition, such a big part of who ends up making the tournament in the NFL. So let's get it to the back half. Again, we've talked about Trevor 1, BTJ 2, Trayvon 3. Again, this is my list. I had Josh Hines Allen 4. Hacker thinks it should be flipped, and I totally understand that. And then I've got Travis Hunter at 5, which seems high for a rookie, but I think it's sort of where the team is. So let's get it to the back half. I've got Tyson Campbell at 6. What do you think?
I like that. I don't know if I wouldn't have him maybe at 5, to be honest. I like Hunter at 5, though. I could go either way on that. Tyson Campbell, the defense last year, it was bad a majority of the year. But when Tyson Campbell was in there in the secondary, there was a noticeable difference. Now, you've gone out and you've addressed it with Jordan Lewis and Eric Murray, and you've tried to do some things Caleb Ransaw in the draft. But clearly, Tyson Campbell is your best defensive player. And when he was not out there last year, it was noticeable. He has got to stay healthy. And it's a big year for Tyson Campbell because he's starting to get labeled a little bit as a guy who gets banged up. And that's not his fault. It's a hamstring here. It's something else there. Things just are matriculating where, okay, Tyson Campbell is a guy that now you expect to miss a couple of games, which is not good after he signed that long contract extension.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Tyson, I thought, looked fantastic in OTAs from, the conditioning that we saw and things like that. And I've been very encouraged with what Liam Cohen and Anthony Campanile have talked about regarding Tyson in terms of how this scheme probably suits him best in terms of the strengths that Tyson Campbell has as a player. So I'm excited to see what he can do. And yeah, I would listen to an argument to bump him higher. The only thing I keep coming back to with Travis Hunter is I do like a normal starter. Like if you're Tyson Campbell, you're not going to get subbed out. You're going to play ideally 100% of the defensive snaps, which is about 1,000 plays, let's say in an NFL season. It's usually right around there. Sometimes it's 1,100, sometimes it's 1,000, but it's usually right in that vicinity. a receiver, Brian Thomas Jr., probably looking at he's playing 85% of the snaps. So, like, if you get like 850 snaps out of Brian Thomas Jr., that's probably what you're looking for. They're not going to play every snap. But Travis Hunter has a chance. I mean, I would not be shocked if he's healthy for 17 games. I would not be surprised if he plays 700 snaps on offense and 600 snaps on defense. And if he's playing 1,300 snaps, that's value that we really can't even compare to anything because we've never seen anybody do it.
I'm not going to doubt that he can't do it. That seems like a high number, but I'm not going to doubt that he can. And the thing, too, you got to remember, Travis Hunter is a defensive back. All right, he was a defensive back in high school. He was one of the best defensive backs in the country. He went to Jackson State as a DB, where he also played wide receiver. He played DB at Colorado, where he also played wide receiver. I think we've seen him in Jacksonville so much on the offensive side of the ball. Well, maybe it's going to be harder for him to learn offense. He's got to get his route running down and stuff because he didn't do that as much in college as people think. I say all that to say this. I wonder if he's going to play more defensive snaps than we believe. I've always been of the thought that, all right, he's an offensive guy that'll play 15 or 20 defensive snaps. I'm wondering if he's going to play more defense than we think. What's your thought there?
I think he's going to play heavily on both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they have a vision for what they want him to do, and he has a vision for what he wants to be in this league. And I don't think there's a restrictor plate on this thing. I don't think there's anybody in that building that is saying, hey, we need to pump the brakes here. Maybe that day will come as we get into training camp or something, or we get into the season. And, again, the mental load of what can Travis handle? Can he handle getting ready to play an NFL team and know them inside and out on both sides of the ball? I mean, that's a challenge unlike anything we've seen. But I think the plan is for him to do it. So, I think he's going to play a ton on defense. I think he's going to play a ton on offense.
Would you rather him be great at one position or be good at two positions?
Probably good at two.
All right.
Is what I would say, because the value in that is just going to be, I think, spectacular. What about you? It's a great question.
I'd probably have to think about it a little more than you did, because to me, the idea of a great wide receiver or a great defensive back, compare that to being a good wide receiver and a good defensive back, I guess, determines on what your definition of great compared to good is.
Right.
I would probably agree with you, but I think if he does play both and if he plays that much at both positions, I'm not sure he can be great at either position. I think he can be good at both, but maybe not great.
And that's why this thing is, I mean, the word like fascinating gets thrown out a lot when we talk sports. Obviously, we're very curious people. We love watching sports. We love talking about sports.
That's why we do what we do.
But this is, I mean, you need a new word. What Travis Hunter is getting ready to embark upon, with full cooperation and support from the Jaguars brass, it is one of the most fascinating NFL storylines in the last 25 years.
It is. And you know what's going to be even more fascinating? We're talking about the positive right now. If he plays wide receiver and DB, and there's a blown coverage in the secondary opening day against Carolina because maybe he didn't hear a check or didn't hear an audible because he's been in the wide receiver rooms, and maybe he missed a day of DB meetings or whatever the reason is. It's going to happen at some point. There's no way it's not. Then what's the conversation going to be in regards to Travis Hunter and how the Jaguars move this thing forward?
It's honestly, it's the stuff you could write a book about. How they go about doing this. It is going to be one of the most unbelievable stories that we've seen in this league in a long time. When we come back from break, we're going to stay on this. We've got 3 more Jaguars on our list that we feel like the Jaguars cannot afford to lose. We're also going to peek towards the 2026 draft. ESPN's Matt Miller did a 2026 mock today. It's interesting, not only for the Jaguars, but also interesting looking at the local schools here, and particularly the Florida Gators. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Buckle up and grab the wheel.
I'm dreaming right now.
It's a Sunday street race in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Powered by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234. From the station with the most horsepower, 1010XL.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple of years ago. Went smooth as silk, was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Our son Eric's a Division I collegiate baseball pitcher who is having shoulder pain. We took him to Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and are confident that he's now on the road to recovery. This is Beth Anderson, and we love the care Eric receives at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Are you struggling with hair loss? At IHRS, we understand because we've been there too. We're dedicated to finding the best solution tailored just for you.
My hair looks great. It was thinning, and IHRS restored my hair.
It's now fuller, it's thicker, voluminous. It's made me feel great.
With the latest technology and FDA-approved laser therapy, PRP, and non-surgical hair addition, we offer guaranteed solutions for men and women.
With over 35 years of experience, IHRS found a hair restoration for us, and we can find one for you.
For me.
For me.
And me too.
Visit hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. Get a free microscopic analysis and get to the root of your problem. This $395 analysis is yours for free. Call 904-777-4477 now.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
1010XL is the home of Gator Nation and the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. I'm Hacker, and we keep you connected with the University of Florida all year long. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts.
Big Chief Tire is always looking for ways to better serve the Jacksonville community we call home. Frank Frangie here. Starting Monday, June 16th, they're opening their 6th shop location in Mandarin, providing more Jacksonville residents with a locally owned auto repair business they can trust. Visit the new shop on San Jose Boulevard today for all your vehicle needs, including brake repair, new tires, and more. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment today.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is thrilled to announce you can get all of their flavors and original vodka at PJ Liquors in St. Augustine. PJ Liquors, since 1999, has been serving up summertime fun. Now enjoy Brackish Vodka, the #1 local vodka in North Florida. Brackish Vodka is the first clean craft vodka, and you can find their 9 flavors at PJ Liquors. Brackish Vodka, for whatever your sport is. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
I'm Brendan with Checkmate Coating. Pool decks, driveways, garages, patios, we coat them all to make your neighbors jealous.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Hacker here, and I want to tell you one of my favorite things about Awaken 180 weight loss, and that's the personalized coaching that you get with Awaken 180. Now, a lot of weight loss programs, they'll give you some plan off their website, and they'll say, all right, have fun, see you later. Not Awaken 180 weight loss. Prime example of that, my coach Kate. I've had phone calls with my coach Kate over a year now, every single week. She's been advising me, she's been guiding me, she's been motivating me, and as a result of that, I'm down well over 100 100 pounds. I'm on the maintenance program now. The coaching you get with Awaken 180 helps you reach your goal. It is absolutely sensational, and it separates Awaken 180 weight loss. Do what I did. If it's time for you to lose weight like it was for me, go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com, or call 844-346-1800. Take it from me. If I can do it, you can do it. Get involved with Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
We certainly appreciate our friends at the Best Bet. Love being out there. Those locations are magnificent, and the sushi is incredible. Always enjoyed it. We've done many Frangie shows at the Best Bet, and it was always a great time. So if you're looking for something to do, go to the Best Bet. Huey Lewis and the News Hacker, their album Sports hit #1 on the Billboard charts this week back in 1984. How about that? This is the heart of rock and roll.
I love heart of rock and roll. I'm a Huey Lewis guy. I know who they were when you said them. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. This Sports sold 7 million albums, so big hit for Huey Lewis and the News. So let's finish up our Jaguars conversation here. We were talking about the most indispensable players on the roster, the 10 they can't lose, and we made it through the first 6 or 7 here, so we'll just round this out, and you tell me if you disagree with any of these. So again, the guys that we went through, Trevor Lawrence won. Again, if you're joining us, we're basing this on player skill, importance of the position, and depth behind the player. So Trevor 1, Brian Thomas Jr. 2. I have Trayvon Walker 3, Josh Hines Allen 4, but you've reversed that. We've got Travis Hunter at 5, Tyson Campbell at 6. So my final 4, Foye Oluokun, Eric Armstead, Patrick McCarry, Jordan Lewis.
It's interesting when you say Eric Armstead, because obviously he was, quite frankly, a disappointment last year. But he is vital this year because they didn't do anything to upgrade the interior defensive line. Obviously, Campanile, Cohen, Gladstone, Baselli, they must feel that Armstead, along with Mason Smith, Jefferson, Devon Hamilton, Tyler Lacey, can get the job done in the middle of that D-line. And certainly Eric Armstead's going to be the big cog in that middle of the D-line. So Eric Armstead's huge. And then McCarry, I like that because of his versatility. McCarry's a guy that can make up for injuries. You know, if a guy or two goes down, McCarry's played over 250 snaps at literally every spot on the offensive line. So I like McCarry and Eric Armstead. And the fact that Jordan Lewis is on this list, I agree with you. But having Jordan Lewis and McCarry as top 10 most important guys not to lose for the Jaguars, you brought this up earlier. Where would Jordan Lewis be on the Dallas Cowboy list? And where would McCarry be on the Baltimore Raven if they were doing the same list?
I don't think in the top 10. I can guarantee you McCarry would not be in the Ravens' top 10.
No.
I don't know the Cowboys roster well enough to know about Jordan Lewis, but I would be hard-pressed to think he would be top 10. And so that was what was interesting about this is when you do a list like this, it shows, in this case, the complete lack of star power on this roster. Now, Travis Hunter might end up helping that and might end up being a huge star. But, I mean, you get beyond, just start at the top. Trevor Lawrence, if you had to, one word for his career so far, it'd probably be disappointing.
Inconsistent. Yeah.
Inconsistent. 2 is Brian Thomas Jr., superstar. So that one, any team would love to have Brian Thomas Jr. among. They would have them. He'd be very high up on pretty much any of the other 31. Trayvon Walker, Josh Hines Allen would probably be top 10 on pretty much any team. But here they're 3 and 4 in some order. You would get rookie at 5. Tyson Campbell at 6.
But you get the rookie at 5.
You get the rookie at 5.
The Heisman winner, the guy that pretty much was the consensus best player in the draft. Tennessee went Cam Ward because they had to.
Right.
But I think if they didn't, if they weren't locked into a quarterback, Travis Hunter should have been the number 1 player in the draft.
Yeah. Is there anybody that I didn't pick in the 10 that you think has a good case? Because I don't like, to me, there's too much running back depth to pick a running back. I'm just giving you my argument.
Yeah.
Britton Strange, I'm not a big enough believer in yet to put him on this list.
That's where I was going to go, just for simply because the depth behind him.
Yeah.
Hunter Long, Johnny Munt, and Quentin Morris, I don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty behind Britton Strange. So I agree Britton Strange is not a top 10 player on this team, but I do not like the depth in that tight end room, at least right now.
Did you get a chance to look at that ESPN mock draft that Matt Miller did today?
I did not. Not
so
yet.
It's interesting. The first thing I always look at now is where do they have the Jags picking, because it's the Browns spot.
Yeah.
And so in this case, Matt Miller had the Browns picking first with their own pick and taking Cade Klubnik, the quarterback out of Clemson, which I thought was a little bit of a surprise. And then he believes the Jaguars will have the 12th pick, which they send to Cleveland, which would be a disappointment, in my opinion.
Yeah, if it's the 12th pick, Cleveland wins the trade.
And he had Cleveland with that pick taking a Utah offensive tackle. But one thing that I thought was interesting, Clemson and Miami dominate the top 7. Clemson, I want to say, had 3 in the top 7, and Miami had 2. The offensive lineman and the defensive lineman Bain were the 2 for so really good ACC representation in terms of Clemson and Miami at the top. And then looking at Florida, he has Austin Barber going 21st to Houston.
Austin Barber in the first round.
How about that?
Wow.
And I've seen that in a couple others, but I thought this was interesting that he was the first Florida Gator off the board, obviously local kid here. Tyreek Sapp, 29th to the Lions, and Jake Slaughter, 32nd to the Bills. It's been a while since, again, this is just one, this thing will change dramatically, and by Matt Miller's own admission, by the time we actually get to April and we're in the nuts and bolts of the 2026 draft. But it gives you at least an idea of where where the talent is as we think going into the college football season. But boy, if Florida ends up with 3, not just 3 players in the first round, but 3 linemen.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's happened. Maybe the Great Wall in 84, maybe in those drafts, Lomas Brown, I'd have to go back and look. Maybe they had, and I'm sure they had good defensive linemen on that team as well. So maybe they've had, 3 linemen go in the first round. I remember the Pounceys, obviously, both went first round.
Yeah, but that was different
years. But it's hard to imagine. And again, who knows if this will happen? But for a team that, we're not really sure about, if Florida has a left tackle, a defensive end, and a center that all go in the first round, it's a pretty good team.
Well, my initial thoughts on that are I'm surprised Caleb Banks isn't in this.
You could make a case for Caleb Banks.
A case for Caleb Banks.
And your quarterback, who might be a Heisman contender, isn't even eligible to be in this draft.
And you take all 4 of those linemen, Banks, Barber, Slaughter, and Sapp. You want to talk about the power of NIL? All 4 of those guys could have very easily gone to the draft this past year. They all would have gotten drafted second, third, fourth round, perhaps. Now, this would be best case scenario for Florida because it would go to show you, right? If you're a projected third round pick, you come back for a year, you get a little change from the NIL, you come back, you make yourself a first round, or you make more money a year later. So that would be an interesting subplot. But to me, Hayes, and I think we talked about this when it happened, Billy Napier won the offseason when Slaughter and Barber announced they were coming back on the O-line and Banks and Sapp announced they were coming back on the D-line, because all 4 of those guys would be on NFL rosters this year. Instead, all 4 are going to be in Gainesville.
The retention was incredible.
Yeah.
And fans haven't gotten acclimated yet at the college level to celebrating that. You celebrate it in the NFL. If you've got, your club has a looming free agent getting ready to test the market and they're able to work out a deal, you're fired up. You're like, oh, great. We're keeping this star. We're not used to that at the college level yet, but that's what this was. It was the equivalent of having 4 big-time free agents that could have either entered the draft or commanded huge money to go elsewhere, and Billy Napier was able to retain them. So absolutely, it's not the sizzle, but it absolutely could be the bedrock of a really special year in Gainesville if they're able to do it. Were you surprised that he's got Cade Klubnik is the number 1 pick?
Boy, people love him. You know, I've talked to a bunch of college football guys, and I'll continue the conversation as we lead up to media days. People love Clemson this year. Love Clemson. After a couple of years, sabbatical, if you will, Dabo Swinney and the boys look like they're going to be back on front page news when it comes to college football. And people love Klubnik. He's a guy that I've watched. I mean, he's looked good. I can't say that I've thought, you know, there's the number 1 pick in the draft. Maybe I'll see it this year. But I just know that Klubnik and Clemson, when you start looking at these, you know, projections for playoff, ACC championship, the whole works, almost every preseason publication out there is going to have Clemson in that playoff.
And I didn't realize Clemson's got this amount of talent. They have, again, this is an ESPN mock draft for 2026. Klubnik going 1 to the Browns. You've got TJ Parker, outstanding defensive end from Clemson, going 3rd to the Titans. You've got at 6, Carolina, Peter Woods, defensive tackle from Clemson. So 3 players from Clemson going in the top 6 of this thing, which is just stunning. In terms of the quarterbacks, real quick, Garrett Nussmeier from LSU going 11th to the Colts. Wouldn't be at all a surprise if the Colts went quarterback.
No. I mean, I think the Anthony Richardson, era might be over already. It would absolutely be over if that were the case with Nussmeier.
There's another Clemson player, Antonio Williams, a receiver, going 14. So that's 4 players in the top 14 from Clemson alone.
I understand now why people love Clemson.
I mean, wow. And then Lenoris Sellers, quarterback, South Carolina, going 16th to Pittsburgh. I thought that was interesting because I've seen a lot of hype for Sellers being a potential number 1 pick.
Yeah. One of the more underrated games, speaking of Clemson, you mentioned Nussmeier. So Klubnik goes 1 in this mock draft. Nussmeier goes 11.
Yeah.
LSU opens at Clemson on August 30th. That's the game that follows Alabama, Florida State. So that doubleheader on ABC is going to be absolutely incredible. And, oh, by the way, you got Texas and Ohio State at high noon on the same day.
I can't wait.
And then
we're close now.
No, we're close.
We're close now.
2 months from today, as a matter of fact. And then, oh, by the way, that's Sunday night. There's a game between the Fighting Irish and the Hurricanes down in South Florida.
What a weekend.
Oh, man.
I cannot wait.
And, of course, the big one is Long Island and Florida.
Yes.
I didn't know Long Island University had a football team, but apparently they do, and they're going to come to the Swamp in late August.
Yep. God bless them.
Oh, my goodness.
They're gonna earn that check.
Yeah.
They're getting probably a cool $1 million for that game. But when we come back on the Frangie Show, we're going to wrap it up. Hacker has been, beside himself with what's going on at the All England Club.
Oh, boy.
At Wimbledon today. Is this day 1?
This is day 1 of the championships. It's a fortnight at Wimbledon.
That's right. We're going to hit on a lot of things. We're going to run up tempo in this final segment. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell & Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Wimbledon underway at the All England Club. It's the 3rd Grand Slam event of the season. Carlos Alcaraz is the defending champion on the men's side, also the betting favorite to repeat at plus 120. Jannik Sinner, who's ranked number 1 in the world, is at plus 190. Novak Djokovic is looking for his 25th Grand Slam championship. He's at plus 600. On the women's side, Aryna Sabalenka is plus 230 to capture the Wimbledon championship. Elena Rybakina, who won the Wimbledon title back in 2022, is a plus 650 to win the championship. And American Coco Gauff is plus 750. She won last month's French Open. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
AC Hotline, how can I help?
Help! Our AC isn't working, and my husband's pouring ice cubes down his pants.
Wow. Okay, well, we can help with the AC issue.
Please. I'm afraid he's going to damage something.
Okay, I'm going to connect you with the Duck.
The Doc?
No, the Duck. Duck Air Conditioning. Jacksonville area's AC experts.
Okay, tell them to hurry.
Beat the Florida heat with Duck Air Conditioning. Service, repairs, new installations, commercial or residential. Trust the Duck. DuckDuckAC.com.
With Lee and Kate's glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Hey, it's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's. It's local, family-owned, and they've been part of our community since 1926. They've taken great care of me over the years, and I know they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Growing up in Jacksonville, I always associated Beards with an elevated experience, something that isn't your big box store.
Dr. Aryan Afshari talking about his experience at Beards Diamonds.
Every single time I've walked into Beards, I have felt confident. I have felt like I've been guided down the right path. I feel like no one is there to take my money and that they all have my best interest in mind.
When Dr. Afshari went into Beards Diamonds for his engagement ring, he was blown away by the selection.
We walked into Beards, they showed us a massive array of diamonds, of bands.
But they helped him narrow it down and even offered to customize a designer setting for a one-of-a-kind ring.
I showed them some inspirations and they really kind of knocked it out of the park. I think Megan still has the best ring out of all her friends.
Beards Diamonds. Unbeatable selection, direct importer prices, designer rings, no commission salespeople, and local owners.
I wanted something meaningful, and that's what I found at Beards.
Get the value and luxury experience you deserve. Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from the #1 sports bar.
Hit a home run for happy hour and ask your Twin Peaks girl about local specials on drafts, cocktails, shots, and more.
Registration is now open for the Circle K Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament. Over $250,000 in cash and prizes available, with payouts up to 20 places. Of course, there's great prizes for lady anglers, and bring along your junior anglers as well. Register today at kingfishtournament.com. Even if you're not on the water, spectators will enjoy fun exhibits, food, kids' activities, and a fireworks display at the Circle K Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament.
Hayes Carline here. If you're shopping for a new ride, you've got to check out Atlantic Infinity. Not only do you get a luxury vehicle, you also get the Atlantic Infinity Promise Free with every new car. That's almost $2,500 in added value just for buying smarter, and you don't have to sweat it out on the lot. Shop in their indoor, climate-controlled showrooms. It's cool, comfortable, hassle-free. They're on Atlantic near St. John's Bluff, or browse anytime at atlanticinfinity.com.
The rumors and trades.
That is the game within the game.
The decisions and deadlines.
Our work is not done now.
The off-season overflows with surprising storylines.
I'm all ears.
Let AA Automotive and 1010XL guide you through the off-season.
It's Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacks Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach, or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Hey, Hickett here for my friends at Zero Res. Gang, vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet, period. Do not, let me repeat, do not leave deep cleaning to yourself, but do it yourself. Dirt attracting carpet soaking machines. No. Call on the cleaning freaks from Zero Res. Big summer savings. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. Take 20% off air duct cleaning as well. Call them, 904-287-5727, and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spelled forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, it's been a fun Frangie show today. We talked about the Jaguars working in the Bahamas, the receivers, tight ends, and quarterbacks. That was a lot of fun. We talked about the era of Aldrich Potgeider beginning. One of our all-time favorite fat guys right out of the bat. And we talked about kind of going through it. We had some good submissions. So Taylor Dahl mentioned Andrew Chavon, pitcher. And the text line, JJ, brought up Craig Statler. How did we forget the Walrus?
A lot of people were talking about this guy. I've never heard of him.
He was in the 80s. So, I mean, it was like in the Fred Couples era, that sort of Lee Trevino.
He had a cameo in Tin Cup.
That's right.
With Kevin Costner and Rene Russo.
He kind of hits on Rene Russo at the end of that movie. He's like, yeah, I heard you could help some guys. And, it's a kind of a tone of, is he talking about like the therapy? Or, but very good actor.
And Tin Cup's a very underrated sports movie,
I love
by the
Tin
way.
Cup.
Big fan of Tin Cup.
I completely agree.
Wow,
and,
he had 13 wins on the tour.
Yeah, he was a good player.
He won the Masters.
Won the Masters.
Yeah, he did
win the Masters. 1982.
Yeah. So the Walrus, and you mentioned he had his son played on the tour.
Yeah, Craig Stadler.
Yeah, right? I can't believe we forgot. Craig's son was
Kevin Stadler. Yeah.
But yes, thank you for the submissions. We went with
a lot of Big Papi too.
Yeah, Big Papi's a great one. I think we kind of brought up Babe Ruth, John Daly, George Foreman, John Kruk. And then kind of off to the side, we mentioned Butterbean, Jared Lorenzen, Cecil Fielder, Kirby Puckett. Tony Gwynn. Yeah. So
a lot of baseball guys.
Nothing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It lends itself to it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Nothing better than a great athlete who's a fat guy.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not criticizing Aldrich Potgeider. He just won the event. Obviously, he's 20 years old. Obviously, he's a great golfer. So I don't care what he looks like. I mean, and whatever he's doing, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because you just won your first event on the PGA Tour. I think he's more lovable because he looks like Tim Herron.
Right.
He looks like Lumpy.
Well, as we talked about too, fat guys in sports are characters as well. They win themselves like the
Leon
John Dalys
Lett.
of the world, Leon Lett. And to bring it back local, I mentioned John Yurkovic. I wore number 64, yakking with Yurko. Yurko is one of my all-time favorite players, was a very good player for Jacksonville. Demeet Hook with Florida,
Absolutely.
Dimitri Hill. And who was it? Nigel Dixon for Florida State. Big Jelly for Florida State back in the day. Absolutely.
That's awesome. I love it. So that was a lot of fun. We talked about Walter Clayton Jr., the Colin Sexton trade. Maybe that opens up a clearer path to Clayton having a bigger role as a rookie with the Jazz. And we talked about the most indispensable Jaguars, the 10 players that, in our opinion, they can't afford to lose. We know you're going to have injuries in the NFL. It's every year, and it greatly determines who makes the tournament and who does not. So hopefully the Jaguars, of the guys on our list, hopefully they'll have relatively injury-free years. And so you really are in a bind with what's going on at Wimbledon. Give us an idea of what the turmoil you're dealing with.
I call it one of my sports guilty pleasures. I mentioned this last week on Hacker After Dark. Everybody loves football, college, NFL. Most people love basketball or baseball, but it's the obscure sports. Are you a Formula One fan, or are you whatever, volleyball, you name your sport. I love the Grand Slams in tennis. I always have. I remember growing up, HBO had Breakfast at Wimbledon in the summer.
It's fantastic.
When it's too hot to go out, I would turn on and watch Boris Becker and Yvonne Wendell and Stefan Edberg and on and on and on. And as I've gotten older, I just watch Wimbledon. So I got up at 7 a.m. this morning, watched the All England Club, the championships, Breakfast at Wimbledon. And me and about 8 buddies, we do a pool every tennis Grand Slam where we select 6 different guys, like a fantasy football draft. And it's been a bloodbath today, man. Now, I'm not the only guy losing guys. Other people are losing guys, too. But there have been probably 7 or 8 seeded men's players that have been knocked out in the first round. Carlos Alcaraz, the best player in the world, had to go 5 sets in round number 1 with a 38-year-old today. He survived. But, man, it has been a crazy, crazy start to Wimbledon here early on.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And in terms of Major League Baseball, did you guys see what the Pirates did to the Mets?
I know the Mets are in absolute disarray.
They outscored them like 30-4.
Yeah.
Over the course of a 3-game series.
They are reeling, and it's been that way for like 2 weeks at this point. The Mets have just dropped. They did win 2 of 4 against the Braves, of course, last week, which is a minor league team.
The Braves are done, right?
Yeah. The Braves are way done.
Way done. And then you guys were talking about the U.S. kind of coming back in PKs and
surviving.
Yeah. So what happened?
So the Gold Cup is going on, the quarterfinals, and you got to preface it with this. This is not the A team of the United States. This isn't Pulisic and all the main guys.
It's not even the B team.
Right, it's not the B team. This is, at very best, the C-plus team.
MLS guys.
I'm not sure how many of these guys are even going to be on the World Cup roster, but they're wearing the United States jersey. It's the Gold Cup. I'm going to root for them. And it was actually a fairly entertaining game yesterday. They beat Costa Rica in penalty kicks, and it was a fun watch. But then they got to turn right back around Wednesday and play the semifinals against Guatemala. I don't understand the scheduling for this. How you're going to make guys run around for 90 minutes in Minneapolis, and then literally 72 hours later, they're going to turn around and play again in St. Louis. Scheduling for this leaves a lot to be desired.
Is Guatemala good?
Guatemala is not good, but they beat Canada because it wasn't Canada's A team.
Oh.
Canada, Mexico, the United States, we're not playing our best guys, whereas Guatemala and Costa Rica are playing a lot of their better guys. So Guatemala beat Canada. It was a big upset. So the U.S. should wipe the floor with Guatemala, which inevitably will mean the United States and Mexico this weekend for the championship.
And it seems like the U.S. team is kind of finding its way from what I see on
They got a new
from
coach.
people that follow it. Yeah, so it's kind of jury's still out.
Ironically, the coach that everyone hated, his son is on the team and missed a penalty.
Missed a penalty kick. Berhalter.
I'm like, well, can we get these guys out of the country, please?
Well, again, it's not the main.
What about Josh Peterson? Is he available to be signed?
Yeah. No, again, none of these guys will actually be on the World Cup team. And the World Cup's in our country next year.
That's
Canada,
right.
Mexico, and the USA host the World Cup. So it's kind of cool to see, like, Minneapolis. They played where the Vikings played yesterday.
Okay.
They had 45,000 people in there. We'll see what the attendance is like in St. Louis. But this is kind of a build-up to when the World Cup gets here next year.
Awesome. Great stuff. Let's now do this.
Now, the 2-minute drill on 1010XL.
Baloo joining us now. It's good to see you. Dave Parker, dying at 74.
Cobra.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on what kind of a player he was?
First off, was his presence. I remember him as a 6'5" guy. I still have it hanging up in my bar that I think it was the 1979 Sports Illustrated cover, back-to-back him and Jim Rice. Jim Rice was a big man. Dave Parker dwarfed over him. So, I don't remember the guys like Frank Howard and Ralph Kiner and really big guys like that. But Dave Parker to me, and then it became like Dave Winfield. He's like the first really big superstar that, probably could have been a great tight end or probably could have been a great forward in basketball. But he hit for average, he hit for power, and he had one of the greatest arms in the history of Major League Baseball. He gets elected into the Hall of Fame next month. What a bummer.
I know. It's
What a
unbelievable.
bummer.
But at least he died knowing he was getting in, so that's good. At least a little bit of a...
That 79 World Series was one of the greatest World Series that I mean, 75 I think is the best. I'm biased there, Boston, Cincinnati, but that one between the We Are Family Pittsburgh Pirates and the Baltimore Orioles was one of the great World Series in the history of the game.
Yeah. Dave Parker, a 7-time All-Star, batted .290 lifetime with 339 home runs and was the MVP of the National League in 1978. It was interesting. We all experience this as a sports fan, but you only experience it as a kid. So it's unique. And Dave Parker fell into this for me. So when I started following baseball, Dave Parker was on the back nine of his career. But when you watched games, you could sense what a great player he was.
Yeah.
So it was like I didn't see him in his prime. I saw him kind of towards the latter end, and I'd get his baseball card, and it was fairly common because by that point he wasn't as big a star.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a cool thing you go through as a sports fan. Like when you didn't necessarily see the prime, but you just can pick up the vibe of the greatness of a player.
Yeah.
And Dave Parker was one of those guys for me.
I mean, I don't think anyone who's a longtime baseball fan will forget the All-Star game when he threw 2 runners out at home plate.
That was a great clip. I didn't know. I just saw it on Twitter.
And he smoked cigarettes. He was a little bit crazy, and I guess you saw him later in his career when he slid over to the American League, but he really was. He was he could run a little bit too as a big guy. So he was. I don't know if he was a bona fide 5-tool player. We'd have to maybe can argue the speed a little bit, but he was certainly a great baseball player, and we've lost yet another one.
Yeah, absolutely. What's coming up tonight?
Brian Baldinger's going to join us.
Nice.
Baldy was in for mandatory minicamp, and he spent time with James Gladstone and Tony Baselli upstairs in the Miller Electric Center. I've been going back and forth with Baldy trying to line up a time. He was just at the SAC camp in Las Vegas as well. So we'll ask him about that and just get his overall thoughts on the Jaguars. Got a couple of other good things scheduled as well.
Fantastic. We'll be listening.
Good seeing you.
Into the Night with Rick Ballou comes up next. Tacker, you're on after Rick. Thank you for your Iron Man duties again. What do you have coming up?
Love to do it. Our NFC South preview begins tonight. We got the Buccaneers, also Zach Goodall of 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247, talking a little Florida Gators.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Hayes.
For Hacker, for JJ, I am Hayes Carlyon. Into the Night with Rick Ballou is next. You're listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.